Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Okay, so we're going to be starting a new build here. I've completed the tow truck. Let's get in here. It's done. We know how to make a draggable interface now, which we're going to add to all of our builds, including this fancy garbage truck here. We're going to upgrade the garbage truck. I'm going to do that on my own time, but I just wanted to show what I've got here. So we got the lights. They all work, and then when we turn on that, they work. Let's see here. Start off by showing off the fancy tow truck. There we go, and then we have our strobes, which we can do. They'll blink. It's a bit fast. Still need to modify that, and we can say left, and it's the front and the back. We can say right, and it goes the other way, and then of course we have this. So I mean that's pretty much that. It's done. It's ready. Okay, so now what's next? Somebody asked me to do a basic truck build, so that's what I want to do. I want to do a basic truck build. So we're gonna go back to the garbage truck chassis here, and we are gonna duplicate this. And why is that? Well, I mean, you could take any vehicle, like we could just go into the toolbox and we could just search a truck. You know, and we could take any one of these semi-trucks out of here and build it. It's just that, as you saw with the tow truck, it's 7 or 8 hours to do a modest build. And there's still a lot more that we could do to this truck. There's still several hours of content we could pump into there. So a small portion of that, 2 to 3 hours, is configuring the truck. Meaning going through a chassis, figuring out, you know, the speed and all that kind of stuff, the horsepower, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. Is it going to be all-wheel drive? What do you want the functionality for the vehicle? So a chassis is a core part of that. Now I do have that a chassis, a guide video. There's a little bit more that we're going to expand on in this video. A year later, like I say, being able to use a chassis with multiple trailers, and then of course being able to connect to multiple trailers as well. So we're going to rename this to just a base semi. Yeah, and then we're going to start with that. So what I also am going to say is that everything that you see in the videos that I have put out so far, nothing requires you to be in a group. Nothing requires you to download any special third-party plugins for Studio or anything. It's me sitting down at the computer, thinking about what I want to do, and doing it. Designing the buttons, right? Designing the back, looking at a picture, right? Designing the back of it. Designing the pistons, all that sort of, all that is just handmade, right? It's all handmade, and that's what I like to do, and that's, so because for me, there's nothing irks me more than watching a video and getting you're getting into it, you're coding, you're doing it, and then all of a sudden they say, okay, now you have to download this special plugin, which has all the rest of the code that they don't want you to see, and if you don't download the plugin, then whatever they're trying to show you doesn't work. So I'm not that kind of person, and my videos aren't that way. Everything is authentic. If you can code, just copy the code that I show. It'll work exactly how you're watching it. That's the easiest way for me to describe that. So with that out of the way, we're going to do a basic truck build. I might do a bus build, and then we're going to get right into Distribution Champions, which is going to be the new game, which I will be doing a full series. That game, I will be doing a full series, programming series on. I started with Project Alpha, and then I thought, you know what, let's change this up a little bit. And we're going to do that. It's a fresh map. It's got no code. So we'll go over the first few elements that you're going to want to add, all that sort of stuff. So look out for that. That's coming up as well. That's going to be a 20 plus videos probably. Designing the interfaces, player playthrough, all that sort of stuff. We'll go through all of that. So with that out of the way, we are going to be taking this truck and we're just going to be turning it into a base truck. So what we want to do is we want to go into miscellaneous, and we want to get rid of basically everything in here. Everything in here. Done. Just like that. Now I am going to be keeping, hold on a second here. I am going to be keeping these two winch parts. What's going on? Because they're handy. These ones over here are handy as well. And I'm actually going to be expanding the locations of those. And I'll be putting them on the trailers. And that way the vehicle is going to be compatible with the tow truck. Maybe we'll get a bigger tow truck. I'm not too sure, like a tandem or something like that. All right. So the first thing we want to do, we have our truck. We have our base semi. It has no trailer hitch on it. It doesn't even have brake lights. Doesn't have nothing. So the first thing we want to do is we want to adjust the wheels. As you can see, they're right at the back. I imagine this chassis was probably set up to be a dump truck originally. And then they put the garbage truck back on it, and that's why the wheels are where they are. So the first thing we want to do is we want to adjust the rear wheels. These ones here, and then we want to see if we can select any of the, I don't know if we can select any of the trim. I don't know why. Maybe that's why. Yeah, it's so strange. I can't highlight any of the parts. It's not locked. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. So we want to adjust this. Let's see if we can see here. This is our leaf spring. I think that's actually upside down. Perhaps something like that. It's okay if this sticks out a little bit in the back. I mean, we can always shorten that up as well. But that might work. Okay, now we have to go through the body, and I have to figure out what part of the trim this is. This could be a, oh, there it is. Okay, so that's this part. So we can move that to there. And then we need the leaf spring. Let's see here. That's the bolts. That's the chassis. Oh, there it is. There's the leaf spring right there. Right there. All right, and then we can just move this forward. Just like that. It probably should be one per axle, but I mean, you know, the way they had it was set up like this. And that way we can see it. You know, it kind of looks cool. All right, so the next thing we need is a hitch. Now, let's see. Before we put the hitch on, we're going to need a trailer. We're going to need a trailer. Now, what the trailers that I have been using, I've been using for about 2 years. And the person that built the trailers for me, really nice person, he just went into here. And I think he just looked up semi-trailer. And I think that was it. Yeah, and I think he just took one of the semi-trailers here. We looked through it. And the way that they had everything connected was a little odd. So that's one way of doing it. It might be a little bit hard to get the scale right. So as you can see, some of these are actually they're quite long. So maybe what we'll do is let's just build a trailer. Why not? Easy peasy. Okay. So what we also need, let's go back to the toolbox. Let's look at a trailer hitch. I just want to see if there's any meshes for that. Yeah, probably not. That was probably okay. So let's see what we can get for a semi truck. I know some of these actually have. Let's look at this one here. All right, what's this? The Tesla. Is there actual hitch on here? Yeah, there is. Right there. Let's take that part. Cool. So we'll take that part here. It says the semi gone. Boom, done. Now we have a trailer hitch. Oh, is it that whole? It's this whole part. That's kind of, it's this whole part here, right? So this would sort of sit on top. And we want it to make it seem like it's sort of, there we go. That's actually not too bad. That could work. Unless we can scale it back a little bit. I can. Excellent. We can scale it back to there. And just scale that to there. It's just a mesh, right? It's just a mesh. We can make it gray if we want to. You know. Whatever. And then, of course, can't collide falls. And what we want to do is we want to weld that to the frame. Excellent. And then we're going to take this mesh here and we're going to put this into miscellaneous. Everything goes into miscellaneous at this point in time. We're not going to worry about the body anymore. I'll go through that. So if we press play, hopefully it doesn't fall off. No, it's perfect. That's what we have. That's the hitch. So that's going to determine the height of the trailer, right? Where it's going to plug into. So when we're building like the ball part and all that sort of stuff, that's sort of what we want to do. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take this part here. This is going to be our quote unquote, our trailer. Let's see. And maybe it sits like, this here. Maybe that high. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want it to be about as wide as the wheels, you know, approximately. I'm never really good at this. I always get this kind of off center. And the other thing we can do is we can just do this actually. We can drag this down and see where we're at. And we'll go just to the outside of the tire trim. Just to the outside. There we go. Perfect. And then we can just move this back up again where we want it to sit. Maybe it's going to sit right on top of the hitch. You know, it'll sit like that, let's say. Okay. Then we can scale that, and then we just determine our length. You know, how long do we want the trailer to actually be? What is that? 50s? 54 is the big ones, right? 54 studs. So we can do just something like that, right? Just something like that. Now, we're going to need some wheels. So, let's take our right rear wheels, just like that. And we're going to say, we're going to duplicate these. And we are going to drag these into, for now, into the workspace. And then we're going to have to weld them together. So let's see, so where they're going to sit. Let's say the wheels are going to sit there, okay? So let's weld these individual wheels together. Just like that. And we'll take that. Show welds, make sure none of it's, I'm not welding it to the base plate. I hate that. When I accidentally do that, it was testing it. Like, hey, why isn't it working? Oh, I welded it to the base plate. That's why. Okay, so then the next thing we want to do is in the actual block, we want to go insert object attachment. Okay, and then we're going to say we want that to be visible. We don't need to see the welds anymore. And then in this one here, we also want to insert object attachment. Now, when we insert the attachment this way, the attachment will be dead center of the wheel. That makes sure that when the wheel spins, it spins dead center and it doesn't have a wobble to it. Wobbles they're so annoying. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is, here we'll duplicate this and we'll scale this here. And we basically need the suspension or the connector, the axle, whatever you want to call it. Let's see now. There's a couple of ways we can sort of design this. Let's see if we just make an actual cylinder. And I might have to Google this. I know for someone that likes trucks as much as I do, I'm gonna have to Google it. just to see how the axle, let's go to Google here. And hey, I will say trailer, semi-trailer axle. And then I just go to images. Yeah, okay, there you go. It's pretty basic, right? Pretty basic. There's, not much to it. So that's it. Look, they even use square stock here. I'm using a cylinder. All right, and so we'll take this into the tire, and of course we're gonna go cantilever false on it. And I mean, if it's a bit thick, you can always change the thickness if you want a little bit. This doesn't have to be center of here because it's that is the location that we're going to be using for the next part. Okay, so take this, weld it to here. What I also want to look at is how they've got that attached. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Look at that. And then the airbags. The air suspension is on. They're on rockers, and then we have the air suspension attached to that. So we can take it. We can get rid of this. Let's see if I put this on rockers and I give it a suspension. Normally I don't put the suspension on the trailers. I just let them just roll sort of as is. Let's just do that for now. And I can always upgrade this later on, right? So then we can take this one here. We can duplicate it. We can scale it here. Scale it like this, you know. Let's see here. It looks like we're probably a bit high, if that's the case, but not really. I mean, there's the tires, and then you have the, you know, you can see it here, right? We sit just on top. We have to remember there's the hitch part in there. So that's kind of what we're trying to rebuild here, right? So that part there, we can weld to there, and then we'll just move this one here. Here, we'll duplicate that. Once we have the axle built and working, it'll be no problem. So we could do something like that. And then from there, it just has a, whatever. We can just add another, let's see if we take this here and we duplicate that, and we can scale it here to here and to here. We could do something like that. There we go. And now it's a plate. Now we have a plate with a single axle attached to it. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to insert attachments in here. Right click. What part is this? This is that part there. This is the trailer here. Let's see. Trailer, and then we have this part here, this part here, this part here, that part, and then we have the wheels. Okay, let's group all that together. And let's rename this trailer. We can say flatbed. Like I say, when the player spawns into the game, it's going to have a different name, and we'll go over that when we start coding our game, which is going to be coming up here when I code Distribution Champions. There's going to be 20, 30, maybe 40 hours or 50 hours of videos of coding. There's going to be a lot more that'll be done behind the scenes, but I'm going to try and keep you guys up to date as much as possible, so that way you can learn as much as you can. Yeah, so we have the flatbed here. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to right click, we want to insert an object and attachment. Now that is also in the center. Here, we're going to duplicate this. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to name them A and B or whatever, and we're just going to move them out of the way of each other so we can see that there's two of them here. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to create a cylinder. Just like that, create a cylinder between there, and that's it. And then we'll click on this one, and we're going to create a cylinder between there and there. All right, and then we're going to take this attachment position, and we will copy the world C-frame position, and that is going to be this world C-frame position. And then you can see there, what's this red? Well, this red tells you that the constraint is not in alignment. So let me see if I can make this easier. So this attachment, the orange arrow is facing this way, and the yellow arrow is facing that way. And you see this attachment, it's the opposite. So we actually need to rotate it like that. So it's facing the same way. And then we can copy this C-frame position and paste it. And now, there we go. And that'll be this cylinder here. The next thing we want to do is we want to say limits enabled. No, we don't want to say angular limits enabled. We want limits enabled. And then we want to set the upper limit to 0. Now, this is going to have to be rotated this way because we want it to rotate on this axle. Yes, there we go. Excellent, 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 right? Same with this one here. You see how it's facing forward? We don't want it to be facing forward. We want the rotation to be here. So we want it to be facing this way. So the rotation is on this axis. Otherwise, if it's facing this way, the rotation is going to be on this green axis here, and we don't want that because then the wheel will be going sideways, right? So same thing, we take this world C-frame, we can copy that, take this position here, paste it, and it's saying, okay, you also need to rotate that one. There we go, and we want to do the same thing. We want to make sure that both cylinders are limits enabled, 0. That means there's going to be no movement on any of the axes for the wheels. So if we left the upper limit at 5, while you're driving, the wheels will actually move out. And they'll move out by 5 studs, I believe it is, and then they'll move back by 5 studs. So you have that range of motion, which is what we don't want. And that's pretty much it. That's it. Our trailer is done. So now what we need to do is we need to take the wheels. And we need to take the axle and we can say duplicate and pull that forwards. Just like that. Perfect. Okay, so for the purpose of, now we need legs. Now we need trailer legs. So let's insert a part here. We're literally almost done. We're literally almost done. Now you can look for landing gear if that's what you want to do. We can go into the toolbox and we can grab another trailer which already has better looking landing gear than this. And we can use that. That's just for the purpose of this video and just showing the code. I'm just doing it this way just for the purpose of the video and to show the code. But like I say, you can go into the toolbox. Even this trailer here that we got from the Tesla probably has, yeah, look, it has landing gear on it, which actually looks pretty good. So let's where's that? That's this here. Let's see, that's that model there, and then looks like there's a few parts stuck in there. All right, I'm not going to worry about it. That's too much work. It's too much work right now for this video. Okay, so we got this part. Then we'll put this inside the trailer as well. Where's the flatbed there? Let's close up this truck. Okay, and then what we just want to do, we just want to scale it, right? Scale that up like that. And then, of course, we'll duplicate it, right? Make this one smaller. Like that. And we'll scale it this way. And we can even just make it slightly less diameter. All right, so we'll take that, and we will move that. We'll duplicate here. So now when I build an interface for this truck, and I guess we could activate all the trailer functions with the interface on the truck if we want to, for every single trailer if we want to. I guess it just depends on the code. So let's take this here, let's duplicate it, let's rotate it. This is just going to be our button, the trailer legs button for now. It's going to be big, it's going to be ugly, and it's going to work. So let's make that green. Let's make that green, right? And then, of course, what I like to do is I like to insert a proximity prompt for these ones instead of using a click detector. That way, when you're walking around, like as I was saying, when you're making these vehicles, some of the vehicles that I have made have the interface, but they also have buttons on the vehicle that do other things. So each vehicle probably has anywhere from 10 to 15 buttons anywhere around it that will turn on lights, that will do this, just for the player to discover. So far, it hasn't really worked. Most players don't actually, they're lazy. They don't like to discover things. So, all right. So now what we want to do is, let's see, we'll take this here, this. Okay, we're going to group that together. I'm going to call this legs. All right, and we'll take this part, and we're also going to put that in there. And this here, we're going to name lower A. And this one here, we're going to name lower B. Lower B. And really quickly, we'll just tell it to wait. Oh, not while. Wait a split second, and then we say local button equals script dot parent dot proximity prompt. All right, and we want to say button dot trigger ended. You can even say triggered, and then it fires when they activate it. Trigger ended. They have to wait until the proximity prompt timer has finished. So inside the actual prompt, you can say the whole duration. We can make it 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And there's just all that kind of neat stuff. So, you can make the player have to stand there and wait for this and that and everything else. All right, so then we want to say connect function. All right, and then what do we want it to do? Well, what we want to do, we can even make a variable for the legs if we want to, but we'll say this. We'll say script dot parent dot lower a dot transparency equals 1, and we can say script dot parent dot lower b dot transparency equals 1, and then we'll say script dot parent dot lower a dot can collide equals false, and then we need to do the same thing for the script dot parent dot lower b dot can collide equals false. That's the basics. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to make this dual function, so we need to say local click equals false, and then we need to say if click is equal to false, then click equals true, and we're just going to put that end here for that, and then we want to say if click is equal to true, then, and then we're going to say else. So what that does is this if statement is this bit of code. This else is from this if statement here. Okay, so that's part of the first click, and then we say, that's when we say click equals false, and then we're just going to reverse this. We don't need to put an if statement, we just need to true, 0, 0. Okay, easy peasy, really simple. I'm going to anchor this really quickly so the trailer doesn't, it doesn't matter, the trailer can fall. Let's just test this basics. There you go. See, look at that. I can even run right underneath it. So then, there we go. The legs go up, and the legs go down. Now, is this anchored? It shouldn't be anchored. I don't think it's, oh, you know what? It's not massless. Usually when I make these things, they're massless, and you can just sort of push them around. So obviously it's not connected. There you go. Is it massless? No. Ooh, something's got to be anchored. You know what's anchored? The wheels are anchored. So we can just click on the trailer, we can anchor it, and then we can unanchor it. That unanchors the entire trailer. There we go. And now when I lift up the legs, there, see, it falls. But that also means now we can test out the wheels in a basic way. Really? Probably because the trailer's stuck, right? Yeah, it's because the trailer's. This thing, this core vehicle has nothing for horsepower. Here, if we do this. Yeah, that's something's going on here with this. Something's going on here with these cylinder constraints. wonder what it is. No, we don't need it. We don't need anything there. Okay, let's. I wonder how else I can test this here. Let's see. For the purpose of this video, let's make the whole thing can collide, or not. Let's make the whole thing massless, except for the wheels. So let's do that. All right, and then I should be able to push it around with the truck. So that's the other thing I was saying. The A chassis, when you spawn the truck and the trailer, it will scale them together. So the horsepower for the truck is enough to pull the trailer. When you spawn the trailer in separately, you have to make it massless. Otherwise, you have to tweak A chassis for every single trailer, and it's a real pain to do. The easiest thing to do is just to make the trailer weigh nothing, and then it can easily pull it or push it, hopefully. I don't know what's going on. I just want to see if I can push this trailer. And there, as you can see, the truck works. There, we now have a basic semi-truck, right? Looks good. It's slow. It doesn't have a lot of horsepower because it's still the garbage truck, which didn't have a lot of horsepower. Yeah, the wheels aren't turning on the trailer, and I'm not too sure why. Let's see here. They're not anchored. I don't think, anyways. Nope, they're not anchored. Is it the cylinder? Is it the cylinder? Is it the cylinder? Let's take a look. Open from file. Let's take a look at this one here. What do we got here? Let's see. Yeah, cylinder constraint. Limits enabled. That's it. That's all I did. All right, cool. Nope, don't save. So I know it's perfect. It could be that the tires need to be massless as well. It could be that. Let's see. Without having to tweak the truck too much, right? Because we don't want to tweak the truck too much. It's just a day cab. So, let's see if I can push the trailer. No, hold on. Okay. Let's do this the proper way. So, base semi. Let's go into A chassis. Horsepower is really low, only 100 or 280. Yeah. So we could crank this up to like 500 horsepower. Okay. Now let's just do something here. Let's insert object, attachment. I'm just gonna insert a hinge here. Where is it here? Let's just insert a hinge. Just real quickly in there, and then in here let's insert object, another attachment like that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go model, create. This is going to be different. Obviously I'm going to be building a block with code which is going to connect for us, but just for the test I want to just see if we can actually pull the there. So we can do that. It's telling me that this needs to be rotated blue, and this one also needs to be rotated on the blue axis. Okay, and then we can take this position, take this position, just like that. And then where is the hinge? Right here. I don't even think we need to say limits enabled. It should just spin as is. I'll have to lift the legs. It's funny. And then this is how you know it's authentic, because I run into these problems because I didn't pre-plan the video. I'm just like, hey, let's see if we can do it, right? So it's having a really hard time. Oh yeah, there we go. You see the wheels are moving? Nice. I don't know why it's having a really hard time pulling this thing though. This is not collidable. I wonder if this is, no, it should all weigh nothing, right? Yeah, it should all weigh nothing. I wonder why it's having such a hard time trying to pull the trailer. Oh, could it be, it's, yeah, front wheel drive. Let's see, if we turn it to all-wheel drive, and we don't want to change the acceleration, but we want to go down here to, so this is, I guess this could work too. All right, let's just try that first. Maybe it's the front wheel drive is messing it up a little bit. Oh, look at that. Let's get rid of these legs. Okay, there we go. No, it doesn't. What's going on? Doesn't have the oomph. Doesn't have the oomph that we're looking for. What's going on here? Shouldn't have to adjust any of this. It all has to do with this this here. But it shouldn't matter. I should be able to spin at least 360 even with it. I wonder, that's so strange. Let's see, is it this? Is this colliding with the wheels? This could be colliding with the wheels in the back. Maybe that's what it is. Let's check it out. There's something holding this thing back. Oh yeah, that helped. All right. See if I can get a little bit of momentum here before I try and turn. 3 miles per hour. Come on, you can do it. You can do it, semi. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. There you go. So you can see the wheels are moving. It turns. Excellent. Excellent. It's just having really, 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 really big issues right now. So what was it? There was one thing here. If it's gearing determines top speed and wheel torque. So this is the higher ratio, more torque, lower ratio, higher top speed. Maybe we need to change the final drive multiplier to 2 for this test. See, it's a little different. I don't know why I don't know what's going on here. I really couldn't tell you this one time. That might actually have been it, actually. Yeah, a little bit. There you go. See, we're picking up a little bit faster. That's so odd. I'm going to have to see what's going on. Oh, no, I don't. Something's holding us back here. That was unexpected. This truck does not. Something's wrong with this truck here, big time. So we can change that. I mean, we can give it a little more horsepower. We can crank this up to like 700. They probably have a lot more. They probably have a lot more than that, I would imagine. But oh, it's gonna roll away if I'm not careful. It's a bit better. There's something. I don't know if it's. It could be the hinge. I don't know if it's the hinge, but there's something here. Let's see if we make that collidable false. What's going on with this trailer? So strange. That's the testing, but it's just it doesn't kind of make any sense here. I mean, it could be the hinge. It could just be that, but it should pull away. I don't know why it's not pulling away. Yeah, the whole trailer weighs nothing. What are we at on here? 40 minutes of me playing around, trying to figure out what's going on with this truck here. We could change it to rear wheel drive. See if that helps. Little bit. Now it's got too much. Yeah, now it just drives like absolute crap. Too much horsepower. And then with the rear wheel drive. The other truck I had was doing the same thing. So let's get this here. This is part of it, part of the testing. That seemed to help. Not at all, not at all. What if we all-wheel drive? It does drive a lot better on a road versus the base plate. Base plate's really slippery. So if that's going to be the final drive, which brings us to that, I guess we could change that to 3 and see what happens here. It should just pull right away. All right, so that's the gist of it. So let's get rid of this hinge. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Now the hinge is gone. And let's just hop in the truck and drive the truck and see what it's the actual truck that's mucking up. No, you see how quickly we accelerated? It's got something to do with the trailer here. It's got something to do with the trailer here. Definitely something to do with the trailer. What? I don't know. All right, so we have our flatbed. Let's lift this up just a little bit. Like that. And we're going to extend these legs a little bit more. We can extend them like that. All right, we'll just scale that. So it sits up, right? So we can kind of drive underneath it. And connect. Okay, so then let's take the base semi. Let's move it forward a little bit. All right, then what we need is we need a part here. Let's go Can't Glide Falls. Scale this down. I wonder if I can do this in one video. Almost. I got 15 minutes. Try and do this in one video. So we'll move this way just a little bit. This can be kind of hard to center. And then we're going to weld this onto here. And then let's take it and let's duplicate that. And I don't know, where's it going to sit? Maybe something like that. Like that. Okay, weld that to here. Easy peasy. We don't want to scale it. We don't want to scale this one. We want to duplicate it. And we want to scale that one. And we'll just make it a little smaller. So it's just kind of like a pin. I know it's really large. And I mean, we'll go over modifying it a little bit. But the reason why we want it to be the same size is that way when it creates what we want it to create. So in here, we're going to insert object, script. Now, we can do this a couple of different ways. So we can say script dot parent dot touched connect function, and then in here we want to say hit, and then hit is going to be whatever we hit. So we can say if hit dot name is equal to, and then I don't know, what are we going to name this to? Let's just name this to trailer. All right, just like that. If hit.name is equal to trailer, then, and now what we need to do is we're going to need to put this in quotations so that way it doesn't say we don't know what it is. So then what do we want it to do? We want to say we want to say local connect equals, and then we want to say instance.new. What do we want to make? Probably a rod constraint. And then we want to say script.parent. So if we insert a rod constraint, just so we can look at the properties of it, we insert object a rod constraint. So what are the properties that we can change on the rod constraint? The distance, the length, and what are the limits is just the angles, but we don't care about that. So really it's just the length. And then we need attachment 0 and attachment 1. So what that means is that inside here, we need to insert object, an attachment. We need an attachment here, and we need an attachment here. Insert object, and attachment here. So now we can say connect dot attachment 0 equals, we can say script dot parent dot attachment, and we can say connect dot attachment 1 equals hit dot attachment. All right, and that's what it's going to be called. inside there. Attachment and attachment, we can name that whatever we want. And then what we want to say is connect dot length equals, and I think we can go like 0.2 is the shortest distance. Let's see, let's figure this out. Right now it's set to 5. If I go to 0, yeah, 0.2 is the shortest distance that we can do that. So this is, now when I back up, it should connect me to the trailer. Let's just test that part first. Let's just test that. The ability to connect to the trailer. Oh, there we go. And if I pause that, whoa, what happened there? Okay. Maybe that was too short. Maybe that was too short. Oh, you know what it is? No, I know what it is. I'm dumb. Okay, one of these needs to be can't collide false. Right? That's exactly what it is. Oh, those are can't collide false. What's going on? That's can't collide false. Okay, maybe it was the length. Let's try that again. Ugh. Oh, and then it's probably this too. The length, that's probably that as well. All right. Yeah, it's the feet here. There we go. So now it's sitting on there. Oh, wow. What the heck is going on with Roblox all of a sudden? It does not like... I have to set something. Let me check on this. It does not like the way I have those wheels set up. It does not like that at all. It does not like that at all. So I want to see what I did here. Because this code is exactly the same. Pretty sure. Yeah, rod constraint. And it's 0.02. That's it. That's all I did. Okay, so there's something incredibly wrong with these constraints here. We don't have the angular limits enabled. The joys of development. The joys of development. I wonder why this inclination angle is, yeah, see that's, is that what's wrong with it? I wonder if that's what's wrong with it. Look, all these ones are set to 90. Maybe that's what's wrong. All right. No. Well, it worked. It worked. Let's make these a little bit smaller then. I don't know. That's the only thing I think of. Let's do that a little bit, and then. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is as well. We gotta tell this thing to wait, because it's gonna create like 100 of these things. 0.2. Maybe that's what it is. Every time it touches, it's creating a rod constraint, and we don't want it to do that. So we could have it create the constraint, and then we can tell it to disable the script. Wait 1, and then we can say script dot enabled equals false, and then that way it only creates a single. It should only create a single constraint, and then it'll disable itself. That might help. All right. there we go. So as you can see, it works. It works. It spins. Now it's massless, right? So it's gonna slide around because there's no weight to the trailer, and we're pulling with the truck. So that works. I am gonna have to tweak this truck a little bit, I'm sure of it. Now, as you see, one of the wheels isn't making contact with the ground. Only one wheel is making contact with the ground. So what you may want to do is you could adjust the height of the hitch a little bit, just so that all the wheels make contact with the ground. Or alternatively, you can actually adjust where that wheel sits. You can make it go down just a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix this truck. The braking on it is kind of slow, and the acceleration is kind of slow. And this is what we do with the H chassis. So if it's we could turn this to 2. Let's see if that gives us a little more oomph in first gear. A little bit. There you go. So I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. We've got our trailer. Like I say, at this point in time, it's just a matter of tweaking the truck, driving it, tweaking it, driving it, tweaking it, which is what I did for all my other vehicles there, and just trying to figure that out. Maybe it's just trying to think of what else I can try and change in here that might help us out here. All I can think of is the horsepower. Just give it a little more horsepower, and that should help. That should help pull. I think that's what I did with the other trucks. Like I say, it'll handle better on an actual road versus on the base plate. Make sure you put the parking brake on, or the vehicle will drive away. All right. There we go. And we're all-wheel drive. So that's pretty much the gist of it. That is pretty much the gist of it. We're driving. Yeah, if we have this thing on the road, it'll handle really well. So the next thing we want to do is we want to, yeah, the brakes. Look at that's when we come down here. We come down to the braking forces, front brake force, rear brake force, and parking brake force. Like the rear brake force is so low. We could crank that up to 1500, and this one too to 1500. We can make it even. We could even make it like 2000 if we want to. So that's where you can adjust all that stuff. So moving on, where are we at here? Well, we're basically at our hour. So the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to connect this, and then we want to be able to disconnect it. So to disconnect it, we're going to need a separate script. So we can call this one connect, right? And then we're going to go right click, we're going to go insert object, another script, okay? And then we're going to insert object a proximity prompt. And then the action text on the proximity prompt is going to be disconnect trailer. All right, we're going to tell it to wait. And what do we want it to do? Well, we want it to find script.parent, right? Script.parent. No, let's do this. We want to say local button equals script.parent.proximity prompt. And then we want to say button dot trigger ended connect function. All right, and then what do we want it to do? We want to say local, let's see, hitch equals script dot parent, and then we want to say wait for child rod constraint. We haven't named it, right? I haven't changed the name of it, but you could do that. You could say connect.name, connect.name equals rod, just like that. And so that's what we're going to be looking for then. So hitch, and then we can say rod. And you can say if hitch, then hitch, we could say remove, just like that. And then once it's removed, we could wait 1 second, and then we can say script.parent. Yeah, we could say button dot enabled equals false, and we could say script dot enabled equals false. So when we connect it, script dot enabled equals false, but we're going to say script dot parent, and this would be a disconnect script. This one here, we'll name that script dot parent dot disconnect script dot enabled equals true, and then we want to say script dot parent dot proximity prompt dot enabled equals true. So that way it'll enable the script, it'll enable the button, and then it will disable this script, and we should be able to disconnect the trailer. So let's just try that really quickly. Yeah, see, it's I forgot to disable the proximity prompt. There we go. So it's connected. If we look at, not the flatbed, the base semi, and we go to, I think it's miscellaneous, this here, one of these. Oh, is that not even part of the, is that not even in the truck? Maybe that's the problem. That needs to go into the flatbed trailer. And this part here also needs to go into the flatbed trailer. That could be what's wrong as well. It's not inside the model. And then this here needs to be inside the truck. That's probably what it is. Put that into miscellaneous. And we can make that massless as well. All right. Now it should handle a little bit better. All right, so we back up. We connect. We'll have sounds for that, for it to connect. Oh, here, let's see. So we'll go into here and we'll go to base semi, miscellaneous, the mesh part. Look at how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It created 10 of them. So we don't want that. We don't want that. Now, I think if I tell it to wait at the end, let's see. Yeah, because otherwise you have to keep pressing the button until it's deleted all the constraints inside there. And it can become annoying, because if you have 10 of them, then you have to press the button 10 times. So let's see where we're at here with this one. Base semi, miscellaneous part. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It created 9 of them that time. Before it fired 9 times before it disabled itself. Alright, so let's do this instead. Let's see. That's just how many times it connected to itself. 9 times before it went through. There. Now it only connected once. Okay, that's exactly what we want. So if I put on my parking brake and I get out, and we come to the back here, we should have the proximity prompt, which is enabled, but I can't see it, probably because it should have enabled it, but it didn't. Proximity prompt dot enable equals true. Maybe what I have to do is I have to say requires line of sight. Maybe it's buried in there. It could be, this is overlapping that part there, so it could be buried in there. All right, perfect. There we go. Okay, then we can come back here. See that? Disconnect trailer. Now it's disconnected. But I didn't tell it to wait. So, oh yeah, there we go. It connected again. See that? So now, if we go back, it doesn't... Why is that? What doesn't it do that we want it to do now? Base semi, miscellaneous in there. Doesn't make the connect script enabled. So we could say wait, I don't know, 10 seconds, and then we can say script.parent, script.parent dot parent. Where is it? What? No, script.parent dot connect script. There we go. Dot connect script dot enabled equals true. That is going to allow us to pull ahead and reconnect to the trailer. All right, so let's test this out, and then this is going to do it for this video, part 1 of our base semi build. We're going to be adding a lot of code. We're going to be adding an interface here, so I can put some lights on here and just some other things for the player. There we go. So now we're connected to the trailer. We can get out because I have to go over lights. I have to go over lighting and all that sort of stuff too. So we disconnect it. All right, now we only have 10 seconds to boot out of here before it connects it again. Okay, so if we wait, and we'll probably see it here, base semi miscellaneous part. There we go. The connect script is now enabled again, and we can go back and we can connect to the semi again. Just like that. Boom. So now what we're going to do is I'll go over, we'll make an interface for this, and instead of having to get out of the truck to connect and disconnect the trailer, we'll just have a button here that the player presses, and that will disconnect and connect the trailer. And we can have it so that way when the parts connect, the button shows up, and then when you press the button, it disconnects the trailer, the button disappears, and once we make contact again, the button can appear again, something along those lines. I'm not too sure. That's going to do it for this video, part 1 of our base semi build. Setting up the trailer. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.